Good afternoon, fellow Gooners. Welcome to another week. Happy Monday to you all, and welcome to another Gunner Talk. Let's crack on. Today's news, stuff from yesterday. The boys are back in town. Boys are back in town. The lads are back from Singapore. Great news. Great little tour over there. Plenty of positives from that. Wonderful for all the fans. Big part of our fan base over there. So proud of our team, repping out there and giving all these guys a chance, plenty of us take for granted that we get to watch our team on telly or, at the ground or whatever live. These guys, I know it because I'm a big NFL and NBA fan, I know what dedication it takes to stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning to watch. So well done to all you guys, and thank you for really getting behind the boys while they were over there. They're back in Old Blighty, getting ready for Islander midweek. It's not Torreira Tuesday. It's not Torreira Thursday. It's Torreira Monday. Shedding. He's joining up with the boys. He's landed. Stamped the old passport. The lad's here. Great news. That's a great start to the week for me. It's great that he's going to have a sort of week to get involved before the season kicks off. A week's not long, but it's better than nothing. Great chance for him to get involved with the good vibes and the good feelings that are going on at the club at the minute. And it gives him a chance to get up to speed and get involved in the game that Emery's going to look to play with this year, the pressing game. So I see that nothing but a real big bonus that he's involved today. I'm not sure about Xhaka, Litchi, Nacho, and possibly Welbs when they're looking to join up, but we've seen plenty of positives over in Singapore, and our squad's only getting stronger day by day, so plenty of reasons to be cheerful at the minute. Not a bad start to the week. The next thing I wanted to crack on with, the Rambo situation. I'm getting tired of it, to be honest, guys. I don't know how you lot feel, but I'm bored of it already. I was really hopeful that this would get dealt with while we were in Singapore, and I'm a bit cheesed off that it hasn't. So I've been looking at different scenarios, different situations. I have a lot of respect for Rambo. He's been a big player for us over the last 10 years. Excuse me, guys. He's been a big player for us. I'm not denying that, but he's not irreplaceable. I think some of you feel he is, and for me, he's definitely not. I don't feel anybody's irreplaceable. We've seen bigger, better players go out the door, and we've coped fine, and we've kept moving forward. So it's a tricky one for me. I don't want to see him leave, but it's time to start looking at alternatives. So that's what I've had a bash at doing. For me, the club should be giving him a make-or-break ultimatum at the minute. I can't imagine we're offering him such a derisory figure that it's so hard to say yes to. I'm sure we're offering him over 150 grand a week, and for me that should be enough for him. And it's a bit confusing that he hasn't said yes, and he must obviously feel he's worth more, which, if that's his prerogative, fair enough, but it's not one I want to be part of, and I don't want our club to be part of. I've seen more of you saying make him captain. Why would you want to make someone with these principles captain at the minute? That's madness for me. You wouldn't have wanted Fabregas as captain or RVP as captain when they were talking about leaving, or Nasri, other people that have gone under these sort of conditions, Sanchez, another one. So I find that really odd that some of you would want him as a captain, someone I don't want to see get the armband, and I think for me, all this situation, I think he'd have to work his way back in the plans like anybody. I don't think he has any say, any sway over anybody else at the minute. I think everyone's got to play for the spot, so I'm not too happy with this situation. I'm a bit pissed off, and I think cheesed off, and I think it's got to get sorted. And I'd be saying, look, mate, here's the offer we're making. For example, 160 grand a week. You've got 24 hours to accept it, mate. We're not moving off that number. If you don't accept it, there's the door, buddy. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. You know what I mean? So it's a tricky one for me, and I don't think we can afford to go into the season with this hanging over us. We saw how damaging it was with the Sanchez effect, and I don't want to see that again this year. And then that leaves us in a really weak position then, where our choice is either give him what he wants or lose him for nothing. So I think it's got to get dealt with over these next few days, and for me, I think the only logical thing to do is give him an ultimatum, but I'm sure we're going to see. My next thought was, can we actually afford to lose him? I had a bit of a mad scribble this morning, and if we're playing 4-3-3, that midfield three, our centre defensive mids, Torreira or El Nene, our box-to-box mids, Guendouzi or Xhaka, and then our centre attacking mids, Mesut or Mickey, and then you've look in the sort of back room there of you've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles as a backup anywhere, or mainly as centre defensive mid. Smith Rowe as a potential box to box, and Iwobi as a centre attacking midfield. You guys know my opinion on him, that he's not a winger and that's where he's got to play. So I think it's the one position on the pitch where we're very well stocked, and if we were going to lose an important player, that's the position we could afford to do it in. So for me, I'm up in the air on it. Like I say, I've got bored of it already, and I'm starting to think of alternatives for him going out the door rather than keeping him now, and that's what he's making me feel, not me making him feel. So, and I think this year, tactics, different lineups for different situations, different formations and things. We've got, it's like we've got so many centre mids and not enough wingers. It's a real tricky one. We know there's going to be so many teams that looked at us, how they played against us last year and how badly we struggled, especially away from home, that a lot of them know they'll get away with sitting 11 men behind the ball. And we'll struggle to break them down. So for me, that's why we need genuine width, which we don't actually have. Somebody listed all the players that can play out wide. Ober and Reece is our only winger, out and out winger. Is our only one. Ober can play out there, and I think he will play out there on the left quite a bit this season. If Perez is staying, he's another one that can play out there. Mickey can play out there. And then after that, it's sort of Eddie might be playing out there after I noticed him playing left wing the other day, and I mentioned about it. But then after that, I saw somebody saying Rambo playing out there. I'd rather put pins in my eyes than watch him play as a wide man in the front three. Mesut the same. Iwobi, guys, I've banged on about that enough. If he plays out wide, I'm just going to end up hating him, and I don't want to. So he's got to play down the middle for me. Welbs, I want to see gone. So I think that's where we're really light at the minute, and where we've got a big issue, as well as left back. So potential replacements. I saw somebody saying, if we only get 30 million for Rambo, is there anyone as good as him out there for that sort of money? I'm not sure there's anyone at this minute as good, but there's plenty who could be as good. Rabiot for me, he's only got a year left at PSG. Younger, versatile. He's a big fan of Emery. He's thanked him personally for making him a better player last year. We could probably get him in for 20 to 30 mil. And Ndombele for me is one I'm a massive fan of. Who I wouldn't mind seeing come in the door if we were looking at a like for like replacement. He's young, got it all, bags of talent. Sort of Vieira Mark II for me, and he'd probably be around that same sort of figures as well. So it's a tricky one. I do think there's players out there that could fill the void, definitely. But going back to my previous point, I'm not sure we need to, and I think that money could be invested better elsewhere. So that's the next thing I'm going to look at. So for me, if we're talking on that basic figure that's come out, Ramsey for 30 mil, and we can get 20 for Welbs out the door because he's only got a year left on his contract, that puts 50 million towards a winger. The rumour about Bailey, he wants a Premier League move. I'm sure we could get him for 40 or 50 million, and that would make us a stronger side, in my opinion, because we'd have a genuine pacey winger who's directing his play and has got absolutely tons of potential. So he's one, definitely. Dembele, you guys know I've been on about it all the entire window, and if he becomes available on loan, we're his most obvious choice. It's interesting to see the hate he's getting from Barca fans at the minute about him not cutting short his holiday and playing for his spot, and he's getting a lot of abuse off 10-year-olds on the internet, like a lot of players do, when they lose their heads, these kids. And he's looking at his own social media at the minute, and like I say, 10-year-old Spaniards giving him abuse, and then he's looking at our social media, which we know he is, and he's watching the boys dancing on the sideline, lacquer with his jolly salad, and I've seen him commenting with Guendouzi, and we know he's good friends with Ober, and this could tip him over the edge, guys. And like I keep saying, if he does become available for loan, we're his most obvious and most sensible choice, and I think we'd definitely be interested. But maybe we could look at shipping Ramsey off to Barca and offering him a bit more money and getting Dembele the other direction. Maybe they might cut the losses on him. I really don't know where they sit on him at the minute. Martial is one I poked around yesterday. You know what his situation is at Man United at the minute. I'm sure they'd be happy to take Ramsey, and if we give him a couple of quid as well, maybe 20 million on top to get Martial. And he's another one who I think would be a much stronger side then, who's somebody who's another one who's got, I'm a big fan, he's got bags of potential. and he just needs someone to put an arm around him, put some faith in him, and he could play all across the front three. So that's another one for me. And like I say, maybe if Dembele's for sale, then we could look at Ramsey going that way, or just getting Rams out the door, getting some money in, and then making instalments like the Torreira deal to get him in, and not having to stump up 100 million, 80, 100 million, whatever, straight off. So it's a very interesting one, guys, and that's my take on it. Love to know what your guys' thoughts are. A few other bits today. Players going out. Ospina. I heard about this ages ago, that he's this gentleman's agreement with Besiktas that he'd go there, and I think that's what's left us in a weak position, and why we're only looking at getting £2 million for a player, for me, who's definitely worth 6 or 8. £2 million's absolutely pathetic, but we've just got to look at it as it's money coming back in and wages off the books. So that's a tricky one, but he's got to go. So if that's our only choice, that's so be it. Akpom to PAOK Thessalonica. Same sort of number again, 2 million, as not as much wages off the books, but more wages freed up again. And he's one. For me, he's not ever going to achieve it, and I'm glad to sort of see him go in. And I just wish him the best for his future. He's only a young lad. And then you've got others, Jenko. Like I say, if there was a nuclear holocaust, him and cockroaches would be the only survivors. He's on 45 grand a week. Unreal, absolutely unreal. And when people say nicking a living, this guy is nicking it big style. And I think that's the issue why we can't get him out the door. Who's going to pay that for him? No one. 15 grand a week, I think he'd be lucky to get, never mind 45. So that's where I sit on that one at the minute, and I think why we're struggling to get rid. But he's got to go for me. Willock, I've said it so many times, he looks off the pace, got to go out on loan. And then you've got, your Perez's, your Welbecks. And I think one of those two is definitely going, and I'd rather see Welbs go because of his contract situation. He's just not as good a player either. And the other one, Macy, off to Plymouth. I think that's a cracking loan move, and if he needs a big season for me this year, especially if he's got ideas on coming back and replacing Cech when he calls it a day, or we've been him. So yeah, good luck, Matt. I hope you have a big season, buddy. The next one I was quizzed about was the homegrown quota. A lot of people are very unsure on it, and so am I, to be honest. All I know, guys, is your squad of 25, 7 of them have got to be your homegrown quota. But you don't actually have to have that 7 if you've got less. It just means that number that you have less. So if, say for example, you've got a squad of 25 and you're 7 homegrown, but if you've only got 5 homegrown, then you're only allowed a squad of 23. So for me at the minute, people who fit that bill are Martinez, Bellerin, Chambers, Jenkinson, Holding, Rambo, Iwobi and Welbs. So that's 8, and we need 7. That's not including the under 21 guys, because they don't count in it, and we know quite a few of them are young English lads and full of talent, so they'll help us going forward, but this season don't count. So if you look at that 8, Martinez is going to be involved, Bellerin's going to be involved, Chambers is going to be involved, Holding's going to be involved, Iwobi's going to be involved. That's 5. Jenko, you'd think's got to go, especially with Litchi coming in as backup to Hector. So there's 1 down, so we're down to 7. If Rambo goes, we're down to 6. And then if Welb goes, we're down to 5. So that would make us then a squad of 23. But the good thing for us is we've got some of our good squad players are under 21 players, so we could fill that number back up with the likes of Smith Rowe, Willock, Ainsley, Eddie, Reese, Ossie Tutu. There's a few knocking about, so I'm not too worried about that at the minute, and I hope that clears it up a little bit. And I'll do a future Gunner Talk looking really in depth into it, because I'm not sure exactly who matches that quota. That was my guess, those 8 players. So I'll try and confirm that definitely for you later in the week. Other rumours knocking about, Nzonze going to Roma. I'm not bothered, to be honest. Like I've said, I don't think especially with the emergence of Guendouzi and Smith Rowe, I don't think we don't need a first team set midfielder, and I'm not sure we need a backup one now, and not one that we'd have to pay 40 million for that's 29. So don't bother me if he goes to Roma. I'd have been happy if he'd have come in for 20 mil and been a backup, but we don't need any more old players for me now. We need to start looking at some youth, because like I've said in a previous Gunner Talk, you look at your Aubameyangs, your Mkhitaryan's, your Ozils, Nacho, Litchi is going to, Socrates, we've got a few older ones who we're going to have to look to replace with guys that then can come in and help improve the squad in the future. So it doesn't bother me, that one. Holy, the goalkeeper from Gillingham's popped up. He's 26. You know, he's seriously tall. That's about it. Don't really know much else about him. I think it's just a slow news day, guys, and that's why our name's involved in that one. I think we're quite well stocked in the goalkeeper position. You know, Leno now coming in, Martinez, you know how much of a fan I am of him. Macy now gone out on loan. Our young lad, I do apologise, can't think of his name right now, but just won the under-19s with Portugal yesterday, so I think we're pretty solid in goalkeeper. So I'd be surprised if there's any legs in that one. But like I say, guys, I'm sure there's a lot going on at the minute. And you know, we're pushing round ideas and thoughts to different clubs, trying to get players out and maybe trying to get some in. You know, the same as the Ramsey situation. We're not going to leave that where he leaves and we go, oh shit, we need a player to replace him. We'll already be pushing round ideas of who we're going to get in to do that. So I'm not worried. I'm quite confident and happy at the minute of the way things stand. The squad's looking really good. Loads of bonuses from Singapore. Other good quality first team players joining up this week. Big thumbs up from me, guys. Hope you have a lovely Monday. Hope the sun's coming out like it is here today. Take care and come on, you Gooners.